First of many, Tim. This game for me is probably, truthfully, the most interesting of the night. And it sounds weird to say that against about two teams that are, for all intents and purposes, brand new rosters. But that's what makes it so exciting for me. Heroic have got Blaz on side. The Des mentioned him back in Stage 3 in NA. He was the top rated player, yet NA have let him go. You absolute fools. So him coming back over to Europe, I think, is a really exciting prospect, joined by some names that, truthfully, I didn't expect to see come together for Heroic against TT9, the return of Prano, who I know has got a bee in his bonnet and a point to prove. He left G2, they went on to win SI, he's had some fun running a bar, and now he's back to raise the bar in Siege. So who comes out ahead of this one for me will really tell the story of who's going to potentially fight for that major spot between these two teams.
Our band's coming through then. We'll have the final one coming in with Azami. Only one surprise in there, really, and that would be that Sense ban, the second attacker to go. And that's an operator that we rarely see banned out, and to be fair, rarely see picked. They have a gadget that enables them to put up a screen of light that just basically lets you move in undercover to try and maybe put a diffuser down, maybe sneak into a new area, but we're not going to be seeing any of that. Also conscious, Des, as we always are at the beginning of a new year, obviously, we may have some new viewers amongst us. We may have picked a few up around there. Hello, welcome. They may have picked up. You might have seen a bit of SI. You might be thinking, I'm going to check that out. I'm going to get into the EUL. I'm going to watch some of the best teams in the world. And you're in the right place.
You know what I have really missed? Making stupid noises and sounds and then just staring fresh, dead in the eye across the studio and watch him not so much lose his marbles, but just sit there and mouth to me, what the F was that, Des? And I'm like, mate, even I don't know. We just make noise. We're into game. Round one is underway. Now, you touched on that Sense ban really quickly. I think it's worth raising up again.
Absolutely.
I honestly think a bit of that is probably coming down from Heroic on saying, look, TT9, relatively new roster. Chances are they're going to commit to making use of, I don't want to say basic, but operators that you can execute around. Generally, your team knows as soon as those light screens go up, it's time to make a move. It's time to execute. It makes things all that much easier for the attackers. So in a way, Heroic is saying, look, we don't know all that much about you at the minute, but it gives us a chance to try and upset you here, force you into more difficult, complicated executes. Maybe it's just a tool taken away from the other team.
It's part of what I love about new seasons. As you've touched on it.
I do want to raise, by the way, Tim, we are aware of the sound issue. Don't worry.
Yes,
we aren't ignoring you. We are sorting it.
We will get that done.
Me and you. No, we are. We've got the desk in front of us.
If Des and I were doing it, you won't be getting any sound.
Let's not go into me trying to plug in the TV in the green room earlier. Jesus.
Yeah, that did not go away.
Me versus an extension cord. Who wins?
Needless to say, we just went to a different room and watched a TV in a different room.
I couldn't turn the TV on because there's no batteries in the remote that took us 60 seconds to realise. It was terrible.
This has had a nightmare. Hopefully not going to be something either of these two teams are experiencing a nightmare. They're going to be looking, first of all, Tellers and Archives. It's one of our mid-floor sites, so it's just on the ground floor here. So what the attackers, Heroic, are going to look to do, first of all, Des, of course, is get themselves in above. They're going to need some of that vertical floor. A lot of the floor that you can see there, everything that kind of looks wooden is destructible. You can get in there with shotguns, you can rip it up, you can use, you've got operators like Sledge, Skiddy's brought Sledge along, can rip all that up and use vertical angles down into sight. So they're going to want to clear Kendrew out, particularly on this top floor.
I mean, truthfully, Tim, looking at the defenders as well, 3 C4s in back pocket, you've got the Mozzie on side, you've got the Valkyrie, they're all trying to feed information into that top floor so C4s can come in from below. Get a couple of easy kills, back away into the night and walk away potentially in a 5v4 or better yet, a 5 versus 3. Kendrew knows that there's some pressure starting to come in towards elevators, though a drone not too far away from his feet, and it's just being mindful of the pressure that could come on running through. But just like that, they managed to get one player straight in upstairs as well, forcing much of TT9 back in towards open and staff. And I come back to one of the games, I forget which one it was, Tim. There was a round back at SI where a team spotted this style of setup and just charged straight in towards Archives and got the plant down. I want to say it was actually in the grand final. I believe I watched it on a fresh YouTube video where I got to analyse the game back and watched it all happen. Still, it's Blaz coming in first, Noah, the first one going down, and Tim, I've just started to appreciate the brand new observer overlay we have across the top.
Blaz is doing great work here. He's looking to find Kendrew in elevators as well. He's going to take him down. We're going to have Kanto, though, on the rotation. Oryx, his ability, or part of it, is being able to jump up hatches. There's only him that can do it, and that puts him in an unexpected position. But Doom, well aware, will find that kill up at the top of Marble, and this this is a good first round from Heroic.
They've exploded and got the kills they need into this 4 versus 2. This is where, and I remember speaking to Officer a little bit, and he said, look, there are going to be some rough around the edge moments from our team. You know, we can lose out these 5v4s, these 5v3s. We can find ourselves dropping down numbers quicker because we don't pull back and we don't pause. So far, though, the boys have done that wonderfully. They know they've got time to work with. They aren't rushing things. Uno's in and going for a plant. They've got flashes coming in towards the last man standing, and Blaz is there. What a return he's had to EU here in the first round of this map.
That looked great from Heroic. Really good attack onto Archives and Tellers. They got themselves in. First half of the round, they had the top floor locked down. They'd forced Kendrew back out. They had a good understanding. I love how aware they were of Cantor going up that hatch as Oryx. They were not fooled by it. Picked up an easy kill for Doom. Just held map control very, very well. When the opportunity presented itself to get into site and execute, Uno was there, ready to go. Went in, started getting that diffuser down. Very promising first round from Heroic.
And like I said, Blaz, the other one for me. The fact that he's delivered so well in NAL in Stage 3, he for me was the real transforming factor for Heroic. When I knew that they had a couple of changes coming in, yeah, I felt bad for them, for one. Heroic have very much become a feeder team, dare I say, for much of the rest of the league. And when you look at football, for example, obviously in the UK we have an awful lot of that in the English Premier League. Some clubs are called feeder clubs in that players will join them. They'll be scouted from all across Europe, brought into these teams. The limelight gets put on them. Then they get taken away by some of the larger clubs in the competition. Heroic have kind of been a similar thing here. Think about Benja going, for example. There are a couple of players they were looking to bring in here that didn't quite get into the squad in time. So things have all changed around a bit. But Blaz for me is the real shining light here. It's not to say that Doom and Skiddy aren't going to be incredible for them, but a lot of attention is going to be on Blaz and what he can help them achieve. And in round 1, as said, he's had an absolute screamer, got a 3K, created tons of space for his team. What more could you ask for?
No, it's been fantastic. Great first round. We can't get carried away just yet.
That's still early.
Plenty more for them to do. But it was promising to begin with, at least. But we also wouldn't expect necessarily Tellers and Archives to be one of the primary choice sites. So it may well be that TT9 are going to show us sites that they're slightly stronger on in the next couple of rounds. So if you're wondering what the actual format is to a Siege game, we're going to have 12 rounds in total. If one of the teams can get to 7 within those 12 rounds, win 7-5, 7-4, 7-3, whatever it might be, then they will take the match as a win. It's played in 2 groups of 6 rounds. So we're going to have Heroic on the attack for the first 6 rounds, one after another, and TT9 will defend for those 6, and then at the halfway mark they will swap over, and we'll see exactly how they can hold on. So it can be important. Sometimes we tend to look at maps as being potentially a little bit defender-sided, a little bit attacker-sided. So quite often you're looking for a 4-2 split. Anything better than that is a good performance.
Absolutely. And of course, not forgetting about what the teams are playing for, right? The desk kind of went through this, but I've been describing these stages under the new format under Blast that it's a little bit of a hurricane. It's a mini tournament in itself where we have 5 play days of group stage and then we go in towards the playoffs or the deciders. The teams that finish at the bottom of the groups they're in, the bottom 2 teams, they have to really go and start scrapping things out in the qualifiers, which come later on in the stage as well. So I know it feels kind of weird to kind of go, well, I mean, last year we looked at this and gone, the game doesn't mean that much. It's 2 teams fighting out in mid to lower table. It's sort of whatever. It's a very different conversation now when it's one of 4 games that you get. Getting all the points you can from this game, super important.
I love the format. The format. Every game counts, whether that be now in the group stages, whether it be later on. There's very real benefits to topping your group, for example.
Yep.
The team who tops the group is going to need to win 1 best of 3 to get themselves into the major. Simple as that. Rather than having to go through that longer route. So there is very tangible benefits knocking about in these group stages to be grasped and to be taken. The thing is, it's going to be over fairly quickly within the next few weeks. Couple of play days, like you say, you play everybody once. You've really got to maximise your points from every single game. It's going to keep us on the edge of our seats, and then of course we get through to more of a knockout sort of style later on when we get into those more sort of in-depth matches. It's going to be great. It's going to be great to see. Before, we've always sort of had to sit waiting for best of 3s at a major, but now we get to get a more rounded view of these teams before heading into the major. And
we do.
You got to remember as well, I think one of the other good things with the format change that I really like is the open qualifiers for the majors as well.
Yes.
Like, literally, if you're sat at home watching this and you're a decent Siege player, so I'm not going to say myself, but if you are slightly better than me, for example...
Slightly.
You put a team together and end up in the major. It's as simple as that.
Could you imagine a designated Tim at the major?
I'd love to see it. I don't think it's allowed. I don't think it's allowed, as hilarious as that would be.
Nah, it would be allowed. We just wouldn't be allowed to cast it at the same time.
Do you think?
I think we'd be all right. Should we do it?
Let's do it. No, but the reality is of the format with having those open qualifiers to the majors is that in all the regions around the world, anybody can put a team together, can get in there in the open quals, put the work in, and potentially have that miracle run. We've seen it in Siege before. We've seen teams like Makers come through and get themselves to events that it was at SI. They've got to an SI, and they're ending up on the bigger stages. And these are not teams that are playing in the Tier 1 leagues. And the opportunity with the format under Blast extends even further than that. It literally extends to absolutely anybody can just get a team together and put them in, and I love that idea. Absolutely love it. What I love most is the thought of casting one of those teams at a major event, like a real Cinderella story.
We love the underdogs.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love that.
Do you want to just stress, obviously, we are throwing through a bit of time because we're waiting for the audio issues for the game to be fixed. When it's resolved, we will get back into Bank. It's currently 1-0 to Heroic, in case you are joining us a little bit late. But as said, they'll be back underway with that one not too long. And Tim, I just thought about a brilliant game show we could play on pause screens like this.
Go on.
Rate the trim with Tim.
Rate the trim with Tim. What? The haircuts of the players?
Yeah, the beautiful irony is you've got no hair.
I'm going to say, we've been over this before. I am hardly the one to start passing judgment on people's haircuts.
It'd be a great show though, right? Rate the trim with Tim.
I mean, what I've got to say...
off the tongue.
The one thing that I will say, granted, my haircut, I'm going to be honest with you, Des. It's not through choice. It's out of necessity.
Oh, you don't say.
I know that might come as a surprise because I'm not that old.
Oh, really?
I'm not that old. I'm at a point of necessity with my hair. But I will say, when I did shave my head, when the day came that I thought, no, I'm gonna shave it off, I looked at it and thought, I should have done this years ago. So I will say that...
To be fair, mate, I saw the pictures back when you used to have hair, and I agree with you.
Well, it's out of necessity, but it did sort of pan out, I think.
You look fantastic, Tim. You look like a Tic Tac on top of a wonderful multicoloured shirt. That's all that counts.
That's what I was aiming for.
Unless you go to Spain or Portugal and get a tan, in which case maybe less so. But other than that, no. Anyway, back into things. We have got the game sound back on board, along with us here on Bank. Once more, TT9 still stay on the defensive side, making use of the Yokais, as you saw just a second ago, peeking their heads out ever so slightly, just to feed any potential jump outs that might come through. But TT9 deciding better of it, back away here, looking to waste a little bit of time up on this top floor, as Heroic are starting things out on said top floor and looking to clear their way through the entire map. Kanto almost losing his life as he falls down to about 10 HP.
That's something that TT9 are going to have to be careful of. I know we're only one round in. As I said, the clearance last time from Heroic was very, very good. So TT9, they don't want to be losing people in the early round, the first minute and a half. I want to pick up briefly on Prano. We've just switched to his point of view as well, playing on Solis. Not our newest operator anymore, of course. We've had a little bit of discussion about Brava. Hopefully we will see a little bit of Brava play at some point tonight and we can break it down for you. But Solis, still extremely popular, and I think that might have an impact on Brava's pick rate, because I don't think that Brava is going to turn eyes away from Solis because of how valuable her gadget is. Can pick up any electronic, kind of like RQ on attack, and fantastic. 2 kills coming in for Heroic,
honestly,
though, and they are flying at the minute.
Forget about Heroic, it's another 2 kills for Blaz. He had 3 back in the first round. He's sat on 5 across 2 already, playing that DMR on the Twitch. Of course, the F2 recoil, her other choice of gun, and for the longest time a fan favourite. Was gutted when the recoil changes came through, but that DMR is still pretty scary. It's Skiddy walking down to find one more, and Heroic yet again are slicing their way through TT9.
Yeah, TT9 not really having any answers, and as we said at the beginning, that was one of the key factors to watch out for in this matchup. Was it's 2 teams that one has been put together. Heroic, on the other hand, has seen a lot of changes, and we didn't know exactly what to expect, but right now we are starting to get a better idea, and to be honest, it's leaning as I might have expected. Heroic, although they've had changes, they've still got a structure there, where TT9 have had to start from scratch. Kendrew going to pick up a smoke canister kill onto Skiddy though.
I'm pretty sure Skiddy got Uno back on his feet and then got put down by the smoke that came out of Kenny. So just kind of trading a life for a life there almost in a way. And you've got Uno still up with Diffuser in hand, looking to make something happen. But I spoke about Heroic worrying about losing out these man advantages. It's starting to feel a little bit like it. 30 seconds to go. They're down from a 4v2 into a 3v2. And Uno and Blaz have barely got a single point of HP between them.
The Echo's in a really important position here, down by elevators. Going to be able to hold on to the bottom of main stairs, which is where Uno's pushing from. Kendry's been forced away deep into the vault. Kayak picks up that kill that they needed. Heroic can get the diffuser down now. Surely it's a matter of time. It is indeed. Uno straight in there. Going to be putting that down. Kendry's going to have to do something, but no, taken out by the king himself, who's returned to Europe. Blaz going to pick that one up and get that final kill.
Second 3K in a row as well for Blaz. This could prove to be a very scary game and a very strong return to dominance here in Europe. Yeah, truthfully, I mean, I remember for the longest time when Blaz was on Penta, everyone was saying, oh, you know, surely we see a team like Wolves. I think back then would have been Easy Dream or Train Hard, a couple of different variations they had. You just thought you maybe see them get, he'd come through to one of those French sides. Or BDS was also another conversation. Obviously, that never really came to be. He went to Parabellum in NA and showed, hey, here's why EU should be interested in me. I think a lot of the frustration with Blaz was he doesn't speak very good English. He types it great to me when I've spoken to him before, but he does speak French incredibly well. Obviously, he's a French native. In fact, doesn't live too far away from us here in Paris. So I think that kind of restricted his choices, especially unless you were going to Wolves or to BDS. But now that he's come back and the team has taken that gamble on his French-speaking, on his English-speaking skills that no doubt he's developed a little bit during his time in NA as well, you may yet see a star born here today.
There's only one word he needs to understand at the minute, Des, and that's kill. And he's going and doing absolutely plenty of it. Powering Heroic, he's the real sort of, he's the engine room, isn't he, to the Heroic team at the minute. And everything else is just happening around him, and there's no problem with that. That's fantastic. Looking further forward into the future, Heroic need to keep in mind that Blaz isn't necessarily going to do that every single round, every single game. This is not a criticism. Other players will step up into that place, but they need to make sure that that's happening, because otherwise they could well find if they have Blaz on a quiet day, then maybe things don't go as well. Kantor's going to take some early damage again. A lot of rotation around these operators. We saw him on Oryx. He's moved back to Oryx now. Noah was on Oryx in the middle round, and maybe just a little bit of a lack of consistency for TT9 at the minute.
I think a little bit, but I'm more concerned about if this round goes against them as well, that they've gone through 3 sites and lost every single one. Here's Blaz again, not taking a single point of damage, but Noah finally there with a response. A big pickup for this team as well, that many were excited to see how Noah could deliver, bringing down Blaz from a 7-kill streak. He's definitely a good start to the game.
Leaves us in a 4 versus 3. TT9 have got everything that they need, really, to be winning this one. They just need to make sure that they push on and actually get the job done now. Kayak's going to be sneaking in underneath. Is there an opportunity here for him to just have a look on that long angle? As he comes around the corner over the metal detectors, he's going to get a nice long peek inside of sight, and that could help to cut down any rotations.
I do like this from TT9 as well. They found themselves 2 kills. Their instant response is drop back to site. All 4 players now sat on site, happy with the fact that they've now got to force the attackers into making a decision. And this is something a few pro players have spoken about on social media, basically saying when you get a man advantage, the best thing you can do is back away, don't keep on pressing and trying to make hero plays and going for more, force the attackers to be the ones that have to come up with a solution, because they're already down 2 players. Their 2 main entries are gone. Skiddy's of course playing here on the flex, on the sledge. Between the 3 of them, they've got to try and figure this out against 4 players from TT9 who also have the clock on their side. Now we're going into the last 60 seconds.
Yeah, the vertical angles are being used well by Heroic here, but time is going to become a factor. TT9, they're happy to sit inside of sight now. They're holding their angles, they're waiting for the hatch drop, they've got doors covered, and they are just going to try and play the clock out. But the pressure will mount as that ticks down. Heroic, if they can find the next kill, there's a real opportunity for them to get themselves back in it.
I think they've got a drone inside, so they know what's going on. They know where players are moving around. They saw Kendry, for example, slipping back in towards Copy. Outside of that, no one else has really moved their feet. Noah and Prano have been sat in these corners the whole time. Giesler has been sat against the quad wall, but in comes Kayak, trying to make his move. Gets one, Uno into a second. Surely, Heroic, don't swing it back. They find 3 in a row, and Kendry is the only one left standing. They know where he is. Can he step out and find his man, though? Out comes the impact. They swing out, but can't quite connect. 10 seconds on the clock. 3 Three players squaring up. Brings down one. Plan's starting to hit the deck. Uno gonna complete this plan. Looking for a 1 versus 1. Kendrew finds a lot, but can he find the last man? Uno, other side of the room, down on the ground as well. They stand here and waiting. Kendrew, such a big round. One more kill will be enough. Sees the man, but Uno's just a bit too quick. TT9, Kendrew specifically so close, but Heroic take the 3-0.
Big round from Uno there, particularly at the finish, able to keep that presence of mind to get the diffuser down. If he didn't, he loses the round, but we do see it from players sometimes. It goes to that 1v1, they know they're being approached, and they just lift off that F key, start putting the diffuser down, and we see an end to the round. But Uno, he knew what was up, he got it stuck, and then managed to win his gunfight as well. Kendrew was actually really unfortunate there. He gets himself 2 fantastic kills, plays his position well. The problem that he had was that the diffuser was just a little bit too advanced in its progress for being planted. So then you saw the movement from him. He sort of went to move, to push, to try and get that kill. But I think he recognised, I'm going to be running into a gun barrel if I do this. So he had to take his foot off the gas and just step back a little bit, and that gave Uno that opportunity. It became that 50-50. As you can see there, he gets the kill. There's only a fraction of time left until that diffuser's planted. Uno's back on his feet and he's ready to fight. And Uno played that really well. Unlucky for Kendrew though.
Yeah, both playing it really well. That just is how close Siege can be sometimes. Coming down to a single bullet deciding who wins a round, and in some cases, games or even series, as we've seen several times over the years, Tim. Never forget the Dan1 Kia versus FaZe 1v1, round 15, map 3. Games like that is what we live
Rim
for
versus
here
Souls.
in Siege. Oh, unreal. Our voices were roasted after that as well. It was just unreal.
Not a week goes by that I don't have a dream with that last round, Des.
Quite literally as well, a dream. Do you dream about Rim winning the 1 versus 1?
It goes both ways. Both teams deserved it. Both teams deserved it. It had been a fantastic game from both. Now then, we're going to have an immediate gunfight coming together there as Kendrew steps into the bottom of blue stairs. He's being pressured from Dirt Tunnel as well. I like this from Heroic. They're not messing about. They want control of blue. They want control of server, Des, and they've got it.
They have, yeah. I mean, I'll give it to Kendrew, who's playing quite aggressively there as well, smoking out Tunnel, peeking his way out towards blue, but with him playing on the downstairs, it was a great read. I think it was Joom who got into position as well, pushed down blue nice and quick, stopped Kendrew from regaining control of the shield, and they're basically taking it without having to burn very much utility. They've still got all their flashes, they've still got 3 frags on side. A really big win for Heroic to start the round.
Prono just going to be using Solus's gadget there to spot out any electronics ahead. Has an idea that there's somebody inside of ATMs. So in a 5 versus 5, that could be a great early pickup for Prono if he's able. He sees the man. Surely he's going to get the kill. Definitely gets the down onto Skiddy. Can he go and confirm? I think he will do.
Safety.
No problem at all. Well played from Prono. Doesn't want to approach that desk because he knows how many angles he's exposing himself to. And you've just seen his experience come into the fore there. Nope, I'm going to rotate through tellers. It's a much safer way of doing things and still gets the kill. Great start from Prana.
I always dislike this when smoke players double up their smokes as well, which is what Kendrew's been forced to do here. He's got nothing left because he committed one towards Tunnel. The other 2 have gone down at the same time here onto the default plant spot downstairs. So really this is a win for Heroic. They've still got so much time to play as Joom eats up a Capcan trap as he steps on his way through. Knows now that he's not alone inside the room, and sure enough, there's Prano. Nearly gets Canto on the soft spray through the wall as well. Both players exchanging blows as Joom is down to just 2 HP, Tim.
Heroic cannot keep doing this, Des. No matter what questions TT9 ask, Heroic have the answers. Uno unable to stick the diffuser there, but he's going to go in for another try, surely now, as they manage to get the kill onto the man on the hatch. Here comes the Yokai drone, but Des, there's an age of time left on the clock. There is no way that the Echo can continue to deny this. Going to try the long angle from Garage, cannot find it, and this is now Heroic's round to lose.
It absolutely is. Joom really punishing TT9 as well, holding inside of Archives. They were just walking up like lambs to the slaughter, one after the other in a bid to try and get control of the hatch, but it was great control. Stick a player in Archives, shoot through the soft wall, protect the hatch itself, and they can do nothing. Blaz put down on one side, but Joom upstairs, he finds himself at complete 4K. We are not on Oregon, we are on Bank, but it's another round being won by Heroic, and they look unstoppable right now, Tim.
They're a force. They're a force. And my thought process coming into this one, I did some little predictions on Twitter, as I usually do before they played it, and I picked Heroic for this game. And a few people said to me, what's your thoughts? And I said, TT9, brand new roster, a lot of work to do. And they said, yeah, but to be fair, Heroic, brand new roster. And I said, yeah, they are to a degree. I will accept there's been a few changes there. But the reason that I gave an edge to Heroic, the reason that I fancied them for this is, yes, they're a new roster. But as I said earlier, as an org, as a team, they have a setup there already. They bring in players into a setup. They can adjust that. They can tweak it. But they've got everything in place. TT9 have had to start from pretty much the ground up from that. They've brought in 5 complete new players. And they've really had to work their way through, building all those things, building a strat book, building everything, as well as finding, what's going to be suitable for each player, where they're going to fit into everything. And so for me, I think we're starting to see that show here.
When I look back at Heroic of Stage 3, I think many would define them as a ranked team. They were a bunch of essentially ranked fraggers, Tier 3, T2 players, running around looking to cause a little bit of chaos. And we all saw exactly how prolific Benja was at that playstyle when he was on G2. Put him in a bit more structure, and he absolutely flew. And I think they kind of acknowledged, and this is something that I've heard about as well, is that for Uno, he was the IGL for pretty much all of last year. Uno's a pretty quiet guy. Being an IGL isn't his go-to nature. It never was the case back all those years ago when he used to play for the big name team that we all know. You're looking today, and you've got Kayak on side, who is a known IGL in the game. He's a known quantity. Not forgetting that Kayak used to be on the old Kavana roster that evolved into the one that we have today, or the org evolved into this one once Kavana sold their spot. And then when you see the 3 gunners put in front of them, it's like I said earlier on, I was really worried about this team at first and who they could possibly pull in, knowing that they had last-minute changes to make. But I think getting this front 3 of Doom, Blaz, and Skiddy is going to be absolutely terrifying to play against the longer this team get together. Not forgetting, they've only really had a week or so to play together. They're looking fantastic already. With the kind of asterisk above all that being, they are playing against TT9, a team that are... I feel bad saying it. I like the guys, but ultimately they are very low in people's expectations. And even when I spoke to Kenny, he said, look, I know we're underdogs. We know that we're underdogs. We're out here to put on a show and improve as we go. And I completely get that as well. I'm not saying they're a bad team. It will take time to gel, but you come up against a Heroic that, in my opinion, are looking great. I can't wait to see them next week because I believe they come up against BDS.
I was just going to say exactly the same. I'm in that position with Heroic where I'm already feeling like, right, I want to see you against somebody, better. I want to see you against one of these top teams and see, just exactly how good you are. Interestingly, Uno's brought along the Monty this time. Going to be looking to maybe force a push and a plant inside of that double door. You can see the castle barricade is cleared off. The wall has been opened up. This is so quick from Heroic, Des. They are not messing about. They're eating through TT9's utility. Surely Kendra is not long for this world in that position.
They've got to be really careful because they haven't got control of upstairs. And you've just seen a player, I believe it is Kanto, dancing around up towards square side. If he's here at the right time in the right position, he can do a lot of damage. They've got to be able to watch out for him, having come and strike true. You've got Noah holding above as well. It just means that Uno can't easily march forward here. I say that. He's managed to work his way forward, so the pressure coming in from others has been a bit too strong. Kanto's gone down. Kendra's got one back on the other side. It's all down to the Monty, but Uno wins out. Takes the 1v1 against Kendra, and once again, Heroic are just bowling their way through TT9. It's a 4 versus 2. It looks set to be a 5-0, Tim.
Like a runaway locomotive right now, Des. Heroic are just showing no signs of stopping. Nothing will derail this train. Noah tries, manages to get a kill onto the man himself, Blaz, but the diffuser is down. They've got a Monty on side. We know how difficult these situations are. Uno is going to be feeding information into his teammates. Giesler goes for the kill. Doom gets 1, gets 2, shuts them down, and Heroic go 5-0.
Fresh is just like losing the plot over there.
I'm sure he is.
Honestly, these in-studio reactions are the best thing. Just watching him have a meltdown, I've missed it sorely. This is a 7-0, his iPad says. Other tablets are available. He believes this one is already done and dusted. You know me, Tim. I used to be the same, but I tend to say wait till the second half and see how things go. Teams can crumble once we swap sides. You can see the better side of a team when they get on the other side. But I think I'm mostly with him. At the minute, they're losing a lot of gunfights. I've seen a couple of promising ones coming out of Kendra and out of Noah. But outside of that, I hate calling out names on day one. Prano, 1-4. Kanto, 1-4. Giesler, 0-4. You need these players to be showing up. And again, I hate highlighting individual players, but Kanto is no doubt a player that is going to draw a lot of attention. Won the Berlin Major Finals, dropped from Koi, has a point to prove for himself, and is a name that is so important to this game, is so historic that we've got to see him shine in this team. And right now, he simply isn't doing that.
The thing is, you know, you've got to look at, like you say, you've picked up on a few players there.
Just a few.
They don't have the T1 experience necessarily, all of this TT9 roster. There's a lot of new things in front of them tonight. You know, there's a lot to get to grips with. I am hoping to see, as a roster, TT9 maybe grow into this stage a little bit. I'll say similar to what I said about M&M at the beginning of last season, at the beginning of last year, was, you know, they are looking to establish themselves in here. Are they coming in expecting to go on and be the top of the group and go straight through? Probably not. That's the honest answer. So for me, you know, TT9, they're not going to be beaten up by a loss. It's not going to be ideal if it does end up 7-0. You know, that's not going to be what they're looking for. But they will go away. They will learn from this. They'll go back to the drawing board, and those players will pick up lessons learned. Skiddy, he's going to teach Kanto a lesson there inside of Kitchen. Finds himself one. June doubles down, manages to pick up Kendrew, and you just feel for TT9 like maybe the mentality's not there. Maybe their heads have gone a bit at this point. There's, you know, they're being run over. They really need that half to come, I think, and get themselves onto the attack at least.
Is there again? I've clocked a couple of nice little gunfights. It's hard when a team is getting slammed like this for any player to really shine. Noah has had some good gunfights. You know, he was the first one to really, as I say, that obviously he loses. Not so much a freebie of a gunfight, but one that he arguably should have won there.
I think you've got to take responsibility for that.
Maybe so, but he has won a few good gunfights. I will give him that. It's a promising start, but when the team is getting slammed, you can only say so much. I did just check the fixtures really quickly for tomorrow. We've got Heroic coming up against BDS. TT9, they get a day off. Tomorrow is their bye day. In the 5 play days we've got, you play 4 teams, you have a bye day. Their bye day is tomorrow, which I think if you're coming off the back of a loss is a good thing. You get time to reset, figure out what went wrong, because that has been a dominant half from Heroic. 6-0, and I think on With Fresh, this could wind up being a 7-0.
I completely agree, and one of the reasons that I would agree particularly is that's not... It has in part been about the kills, but it's not been all about the kills for Heroic. If we have a look, they managed to plant successfully 3 times. 50% plant rate is actually pretty good for attackers. You know, they are, and the reason that I bring that up is it shows us that they are playing structured, organised siege. They're playing after the objective. They're getting in there, creating space, and are able to put that diffuser down on the ground. And that is just going to lean fantastically well into defence. If they're playing structured, organised siege, they're going to be difficult to break down here. Plus what? You're going to stick Blaz out on the roam on a Valkyrie? Woohoo! Oh dear! Watch out, TT9.
I mean, look, you've got to hold him back to some level, right? Give him the MPX and say, right, let's start you with the baby toy.
Minor nerf.
Let's see how you can do. I mean, it does shoot pretty straight, so it's pretty much a laser beam, so it just does basically no damage.
Very little damage.
Yeah, whereas most entry players that we see these days will play things like what June's on here, playing things like the Legion. I look to Doki when I say that kind of statement. So we'll see how he delivers in this round. I think still being, he's 10-2 across this game so far, across 6 rounds. Again, brilliant performance. Jume at 7-3 too. I think he died in the first round without getting anything done, but overall, it's a really good rounded performance.
Here we go then. It's going to be the first defence for Heroic, and it could be the last if they manage to get this win. As I said at the beginning, for any of our newer viewers, it is the first to 7 through regulation time. So it's a best of 12 essentially. So if they get 7, it can't be possible for TT9 to catch up. Now, Uno is going to lose 1 mirror there to the Twitch drone, but does manage to keep the second. It's honestly not the end of the world, isn't losing the garage one. It's not ideal because it does give a long line of sight up into that red corridor. But to be fair, it's reasonably easy to open that line of sight anyway. You've got Prano with Hibana on side, so you could do it at range. It's not a big deal. So I don't think Uno will be chased away from there just yet.
I did mention it back in round 2, but I am really enjoying this new overlay. You know, seeing straight away at a glance. In the top right corner, for example, the drones, you can see which ones are on the field, which ones are in back pocket. You can normally see that info looking down the right-hand side of the player cards anyway, but just having it all in one place is great. You can see how many impacts are up, how many frags are up, flashes. It's just beautiful. I love it.
It is. It's really, really nice. So if you're wondering how that works, it's basically when the little dots, the little circles, when they're filled in, when they get another dot inside of them, it means that utility's been used. So if you look at your reinforcements over on the top left of your screen, you'll see 9 out of 10 of those little dots have been filled in.
Or they go with a cross when the player dies.
Or you just go with a cross when the player dies because Skiddy's managed to get a kill onto Noah. That is going to be a nice opener.
What I don't yet know about them is if they've been used and you die, is it any different? Because for me, that would be interesting to see. Because knowing if a player has died with both of them in back pocket is always quite interesting. And I'll find that out obviously in a bit as we watch more of these games, Tim. Because we've got 3 more coming up tonight, let's not forget as well. And you stuck with me and Tim for the entire night. Oh, poor souls.
Oh. For now, it looks like game 1 is going to be over pretty soon. Heroic have got themselves a nice advantage, taking 2 nades, which could be important as well. Blaz is going to be sticking himself down in the garage. They just look so relaxed, so calm. You know, they're in their lane, Des. They're focused, they're flourishing. They are absolutely loving it.
They are loving life, Tim. And this is the thing, it's not been really much pressure. I know Heroic dropped back down towards site, but Blaz has been largely free out inside the garage for now, so holding the longer angles. You've got TT9 still trying to work their way forwards. We're into nearly the last 30 seconds, and there's barely any pressure being put downstairs. They're only just starting to chew through. There were my magnets that are out. They've got the mirror to worry about. There's 2 C4s to play into. It's not looking good. Kayak finds another, and this looks to be a shutout.
5 versus 3. I just can't see the crack in this defence that TT9 are going to be able to push their way in through, but Kanto maybe manages to create a little bit of something for them. Prano takes the drop. They are aware, yes, the Heroic man spins around, but still Kayak loses the fight. 3v3. Doom does manage to pick up Kanto, though. 2v2. This is becoming a bloodbath. 4 seconds left to go, and it's all down to Skiddy to try and hold on. Diffuser's going down. He might be able to prevent it if he just takes a shot through the soft wall.
Oh, down
he finds his man, Skiddy, in a beautiful 1v2 to close things out, and that is a great performance from Heroic to start us off here in the 2023 Europe League.
I'm sure Heroic and Mr. Officer will be absolutely delighted with that first performance, especially knowing that you're coming up against BDS tomorrow. You've already established yourself as a cut above TT9 here.